Hello, everybody, and welcome to my review of Alan Wake 2. Yes, it is finally here. 13 years since the first game kinda kicked off the Remedyverse, we'll say. I know Max Payne 2 is in there, and maybe they had intentions when that started, but Alan Wake kicked it off. And Alan Wake 2. Th- this game, I will say it again at the end. This game is a masterpiece. I'll just put it out there right away. Let's get right into the bones of this review and of Alan Wake 2. The story and lore. I literally just have down it's effing Remedy. Because they did it again. This story keeps you gripped the entire time. It's the story of two playable protagonists, Saga Anderson, as she maneuvers Bright Falls, Washington, and tries to find our other missing protagonist, the writer Alan Wake, who finds himself stuck in the dark place at the very beginning. Now, they play, I'm going to say, hand in hand, the stories. In fact, once you get to a certain point, it has you play the first, I want to say, two or three, I don't remember off the top of my head, chapters of Saga, and then the first two or three chapters of Alan's storyline, and then lets you switch whenever you want. It got to a point where I'm like, no, I want to do each mission back to back. So then do chapter 4 of Saga's, then initiation 4 of Alan's. Because they go hand in hand and they talk to each other, and it is so well done. The story just kept me going. It kept me at the end of each chapter. I wanted to switch, but also I'm like, I can't because I need to see what happens next to this character. They did such a good job of keeping the narrative going, keeping you interested the whole time without it becoming they're doing it again. They they have such a knack for writing, and they continuously build the lore of this world, this Remedyverse, by making it so, yes, you have the main story of this game, but there's other stuff going on that has you going, oh, especially if you played their other games. Like Control, the way I put it, Alan Wake started it. Control gave you this universe, and Alan Wake 2 builds on this universe. There are so many callbacks to just this world in general. There's a character who will you will see somewhat often in the game that you wouldn't know if you haven't played Control. The way they do all this, the way these moments are scripted at the perfect time to give you these chills. This game is super creepy, but it's done so well that you will have chills and feel weird. And then the next moment, you are super hype about something. And then you'll have moments where you are super hype about something. And then they move on to the next part so well that just snap and you have chills. This is one of the first games I've played in a long time that actually made me like turn around occasionally just because I felt so uneasy. It was beautiful. I can't say enough about the writing in this game. Visually, this game is incredible. The facial animations in characters can be super astounding. And the way they will blend live action into this game is awesome. It's really neat how, if I'm not mistaken, the actress who did who's the body model for Saga Anderson is the same actress that does her voice. They still have, even in live action, you have the body model for Alan Wake, and then you have the same actor who did his voice before voicing over Wake in live action. Occasionally you can notice, but overall they did a very good job of hiding that. It's awesome. This game is visually impressive. The environments are beautiful. This Bright Falls, Washington, I would go there. I mean, if I really knew what was up, maybe I wouldn't, because, you know, I'd be terrified. But if I didn't know any better, and I saw a pamphlet for Bright Falls, Washington, I'd be like, you know what? I want to visit there. I want to vacation there. They do such a good job of creating this town, this community. The surroundings are awesome. Coffee World, I don't even really drink coffee. I'd visit it. Be a fun little amusement park thing. Again, if I knew the reality, terrified. The gameplay. Now, gameplay is where, Alan Wake Remastered came out a couple years ago. And the gameplay is still the part where it's like, alright, this feels a little dated. The gameplay in Alan Wake 2 isn't incredible, but it's good. It won't take you out of the experience. It won't have you saying, oh, this is clunky. It's fine. The dodging is the only part where I'm like, alright, some of these dodges work, some of them don't. There's perfect dodging, which, when you hit it, it feels amazing. But also, I had a rough time, like, figuring out when exactly do I hit these dodges. But, like I said, when you hit it, and that time slows down, it's like, oh, this feels amazing. Upgrades. There's ways to upgrade both Saga and Alan. Saga, you find these lunchboxes. They're Alex Casey lunchboxes. I love Sam Lake. It's just, I love him. That have manuscript pages, and use those to upgrade Saga's weapons. I will give you a hint right now. Do not upgrade the sawed-off shotgun. I'm not going to say anything else, just do yourself a favor. Because I did, a lot. And then, yeah. But with Alan, you can find these words of power, and I found hardly any of them. They're like, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, was it 9 types of words of power, and there's 3 in each you could upgrade? I think I found like 4 total in the game. I know that's a lot more on me, but I feel like they didn't make that big of a difference on me going through the game as him. But it could have just been the way I was playing. Maybe on a harder difficulty, it will make a lot more sense. I will be replaying it when the new Game Plus comes out. I believe it's called The Final Draft. But I will be replaying it. I have 2 trophies I missed. And I'll find out more, because I'm going to take a wild guess you're going to need to beat the game on the hardest difficulty. I think it's Nightmare they're adding. I'm going to take a wild guess it's going to be a trophy. And I'm going to do it. Collectibles overall were really fun. There's the lunch boxes. There's cult stashes, which all of them have a couple items in it for you to take, but also like a little note on the lid, which was really neat for just building the lore of this cult, and fun little things like that. Side note, one of my favorite parts in the game that made me laugh so hard was when you're in the dark place as Alan, and somebody says, I have a stash over there if you want, and I saved some useful items for you, and I opened it and it was just completely empty. It made me laugh so hard. I'm like, okay. uh, one of the things you can collect are the Koska Brothers commercials. I love them so much. They make me laugh so much. I would watch a TV show of that. Just gonna put that out there. I would watch a TV show of those two characters just doing things. And then there's a part at the end where I'm not going to say what happens to that, but you see the one character so sad, and it's like with the story, I'm like, oh, just it's so good. It is so well done. I love them. I'm so sad I missed the one. I can't wait to get it when I play through the new Game Plus. I'm so excited. One of the best things I can say towards this game, gameplay wise, is you never feel like you have too much or too little ammo. You may have a moment of, I could use a little more, but then boom, you find some. And then you may have a moment of, wow, I am stacked on ammo. And 10 seconds later, you're like, well, that didn't last long. You never feel like you have too much or too little. It was so wonderfully done. I'll also say, I didn't say this at the beginning, I did play it on normal difficulty. So not the easiest, not the hardest. But it just feels, it never felt like I had too little items. In fact, at times it's like, I can't take these items with me because I don't have room for any more flares or the, I can't remember off the top of my head what they're called, that like you shoot at them. Uh, and the flashbang. Sometimes it's like I don't have the room for this, but ammo always felt like perfect. Also, Remedy, thank you so much for putting the crossbow in the game. I absolutely love that weapon, and if I could, I would go through the entire game using just that because it's awesome. It feels so good. That doesn't have to do with the game mainly. That was just me being absolutely in love with that weapon. Overall, the presentation for this game is astounding. I do have to say the voice acting, it did take me out of it a little bit once or twice. I have to give them credit because from what I hear, they are not American voice actors and they're all doing American accents. But occasionally Saga's accent came through and it just took me out of it a little bit because it didn't match. Like, if she just had her normal accent, I would have been like, okay, yeah, that's just Saga's character. But using the American accent for most of it and occasionally hearing it just peek through, that's how I found out Bullet for My Valentine was from England because they just sounded super normal. And I'm like, wait a minute, I hear a little twinge here and there, but it wasn't bad, and it was only like 4 times in my like 20-hour playthrough. It wasn't bad at all. I'm not dinging any credit from it. Everything is done so beautifully in this game, and I can't give them enough credit on how much I absolutely loved it. I'm going to end here by saying, by reading what I put on social media this morning on my thoughts, and then I'm going to end and go into detail on two certain things. That way people can leave before the spoilers. It was incredible. Beautiful when it needed to be, terrifying in the best ways, and goofy in the ways that only Remedy can do. Gameplay is so much improved over 1, and while it's not the best gameplay of the year, it was fun and held up. The story was incredible, kept me on the edge of my seat, and one character never overshadowed the other. At all times, I was saying, I can't play as the other character. I need to see what happens to this one. At all times. To both characters. Moments in this game will stick with me for life. Looking at you, Initiation 4. And the moment someone said, we need redacted, my heart leapt because I knew what to look forward to. Remedy already solidified themselves as one of my favorite devs back in 2019, but now they have solidified themselves as hands down one of the best and most creative devs in the entire industry. Alan Wake 2 is a masterpiece, and I fully stand behind all of that. Alan Wake 2 is not afraid to be different, not afraid to be itself, and for that reason, it's so amazing. It is so incredibly well done. And I just have to say thank you to Remedy for making a game like this that it's just beautiful. Going back to the presentation, everything about this is beautiful. Everything is wrapped so beautifully together. This game is the perfect example of art and the perfect example of passion in your project. I cannot recommend this game enough. It is my game of the year, and I'm going to play some more games from this year before the year ends. But I don't see how anything could usurp this. This game will stand out in video games. And this has been an astounding year for games like that. And I think this one stands above them all. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, or I want to hear what you think of Alan Wake 2. I want to hear your thoughts on the game. Again, be it non-spoilery, just because I don't want anybody to see any comments or anything that could spoil something for them. You know, something that like they can't control. I'm spoilering at the end of this because you can turn it off beforehand. But I want to hear your thoughts on this game, and I want to hear where you think. I'm not going to say that because it could lead to spoilers. But again, I want to hear your thoughts on this game. What were your favorite things about it? What were your least favorite? I think this game is a must-play for everybody, unless you get scared easy. But other than that, I think it's a must-play for everybody, and it continues the trend of Remedy building the best world in gaming. Thank you for listening, and I'm going to give you a chance now to turn off the podcast. I'm only going to talk for like a minute or two, but I'm giving you the chance now to turn off the podcast before I go into my spoilers. So I'm going to count from 5 down before I get into it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler section. The two moments that got me the most were Alan's Initiation 4. I think it was called We Sing. The fact that there was an entire level where you walk through and fight through a literal live action musical of the story of Alan Wake, where Mr. Door is singing and you have Alan's voice actor singing, all of them dancing, and it didn't feel out of place. It felt somehow perfect. Is the perfect showing of how good, how incredibly good Remedy is at making this world. I love that so much. And I want that song playing in my radio right now. Just, Remedy, please let me know when you're releasing the Alan Wake 2 soundtrack, like the full soundtrack. Both like the score and all that, along with the voiced songs, the songs with lyrics, because I want to listen to it over and over and over again. The other part that really got me is when she has the clicker and she says, "We need art." And right away, I literally yelled out loud on stream, "Oh my god, Old Gods of Asgard." Because I knew it was coming. I knew there was going to be an Old Gods of Asgard section. And it was amazing. That was the exact part I was talking about, where I said, it makes you so pumped up, and then so fast gives you chills. Because just that entire section, that like horde mode fight, was awesome. And it had my veins, it had my blood rushing, my adrenaline was up. And then the way that section ended, I'm like, oh no. It was amazing. So again, if you've listened through this, thank you, Remedy, for just making this game, for being yourselves, and thank you, Sam Lake, for having the most amazing mind out there. Thanks for listening, and until next time, good night, listeners. Good night.